You are now tuned in to Smoking with Reed G's Radio. I need everybody listening to go grab their blunt, light their spliff, roll their joint. Cause today, we got a very special surprise. Today we gonna go for a ride in the G's Mobile. Hey, I said roll it, light it, let the smoke just rise. Reed G's on the screen, good vibes all night. Twist another joint, keep a flame in sight. Smoking with Reed G's, we hide the street light. Roll it.
Yo, hey, check. I'm not gonna lie. It's cold as fuck in my room right now. Damn. Not gonna hold y'all. But welcome back to another episode of Smoke with Reed G's, where we get fried and react to videos. Today we got the NBA's Greatest Podcast by Dylan Dose Basketball. I guess Jeff Teague's story.
Guy pop up on your timeline. This is Jeff Teague.
Hold on. Are we 8 seconds in,
If
bro?
you've scrolled on sports social media over the last year or two, then you've definitely seen clips and memes involving this guy pop up on your timeline. This is Jeff Teague, and this is Jeff Teague with pants on. He's the only player in NBA history to become more popular after he retired. He
Right.
hosts the podcast called Club 520 with his two friends DJ Wells and B Hen, and it's taken over the internet. Teague has experienced firsthand some of the craziest stories the
What the
NBA
fuck was
has
that
to
for?
offer. From physically fighting LeBron in the playoffs, to playing a game while drunk, to going half the season without talking to his superstar teammate Paul.
Jeff Teague and Paul George refused to talk to each other for 4 months for no reason. what the fuck? For no reason?
George, for no reason, to witnessing Jimmy Butler's infamous Timberwolves practice meltdown up close. This guy has literally seen it all. Today, we'll be taking a deep dive.
Jeff Teague is what the fuck? Jeff Teague is a time traveler. Jeff Teague probably knew that drinking. I'ma just stop trying to read, gang.
Dive into the full career of Jeff Teague, detailing every single wild story that occurred.
Oh my lord!
Before entering the NBA, Teague spent 2 years at Wake Forest, where he evolved into one of the best point guard prospects in the country. What's crazy though is that the entire career of Jeff Teague could have been ruined because he almost got kicked out of his school. Back in the late 2000s, Teague used the software LimeWire to download all of his favorite songs, a common but illegal practice that many internet users did back then. The police ended up knocking at his dorm and arresting him, charging him for $5 million worth of stolen music.
You know you downloaded over $5 million worth of music. Like, damn. They like, you owe $5 million. Like, I ain't got no money. What the fuck?
How'd they catch him? Teague tried to download the Kim Kardashian tape and got set up. Ultimately, he cooperated.
Freaky frog ass nigga.
Police and escaped.
Yo, he got
charges,
try to download
just
the Kim
barely avoiding a
Kardashian
career
tape.
implosion before it could even begin. Steph Curry.
No,
faced-
chat. Imagine. Bro, imagine you think you about to download this tape and get busy. You set up the lotion on the side of the bed. You mean you make sure that the temperature in the room is right. You mean like you got your laptop propped up the right way, the good angle. You try to download that junk, that shit start downloading, and you hear boom boom. Police. Yo.
Blake Griffin, DeMar DeRozan, and Jeff Teague. This guy was a part of the legendary 2009 draft class. Coincidentally, this draft took place on the same day Michael Jackson died. Teague was watching from home with his family awaiting his name to be called. But once the news broke about MJ, his entire family burst into tears and completely forgot about what was supposed to be a life-changing draft moment.
They were at your house crying over the sudden passing of Michael Jackson, and you're
they should have
getting
been
ready.
crying for me. I'm about to change my family's life.
Teague, was sitting on
Yo,
the
real
couch
rap
listening
though.
to songs like Smooth Criminal and Beat It being played on the speakers, received a call from the Philadelphia 76ers. They told him that at pick 17, they'd take him and welcome him to the Sixer family. Well, you heard it here first. JT is going to the city of brotherly love.
With
Yo,
the
he was supposed to be on the
17th pick
Sixers?
in the 2009 NBA draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Drew Holiday.
They said Drew Holiday. I was like, what?
Teague had been duped. The Sixers lied to him for no
Yo,
reason.
I hate the Sixers so much, bro. Like, y'all, why would y'all do that, bro? Not even trying to compare the two players, bro. Why would you call this nigga, tell him you about to draft him, and get his whole family hype after it was just said that Michael Jackson died, and not draft him? Like, what the fuck? That's
Being the Hawks
crazy.
2 picks later, who drafted him at the 19th spot. One of the first lessons Teague learned when joining the league was how money was everything. When he received his first check, it was $86,000 for 2 weeks of play. Then he looked over at his all-star teammate Joe Johnson's check and saw it was $2 million. There's
Damn.
levels to this. But in order to get paid, you gotta play well. And in order to play well, you gotta play, which Teague wasn't doing. In his first 2 seasons, he averaged just 11 minutes per game. So what gives? During practice his rookie year, former All-Star and player development coach Nick Van Exel pulled him to the side and told him what he was doing wrong. He pointed out how everyone around him was getting paid tens of millions, and how Teague was only getting paid 1. Van Exel said Teague needed to put his ego to the side and feed the best players on the team. That would get him minutes and get him paid.
Throw him a couple pads, throw him alive here and there. I was like, scoring, I'm just gonna be the best passer.
So Teague did just that, turning into a pass-first guard, finding Joe Johnson and Josh Smith during games to keep them happy and get playing time. Another
Yeah.
thing Teague learned was how in the pros, everyone puts themselves first. Rather than working together, most teammates are competing against one another because everyone's trying to keep their job.
The older dudes don't want to help you unless they like on a super max and like
Or they really almost doing.
I'm a established player and I know what you gonna do ain't gonna affect nothing I got going on. But if it's an older dude that might be like 2 or 3 years ahead of you that ain't got paid yet or they on the fence, they ain't about to help you. They might tell you everything wrong.
In his final game of his rookie year, Teague became the selfish one and refused to pass the ball. Since none of the starters were playing, he played all 48 minutes and shot a career high in field goal attempts, 19. He scored 24 points, taking advantage of the golden opportunity and ending his
dunking
rookie
that
year on a
shit.
bang. But this one performance wouldn't be enough to earn Teague many minutes in his sophomore season. He still wasn't taking his job seriously.
I wasn't doing nothing. I'm just chilling. I come to the meeting 5 minutes before the meeting. We got practice. I show up when Joe show up. I'm lit. I'm out every night.
Then, veteran teammate Damian Wilkins pulled him to the side one meeting and confronted him, demanding Teague train with him or he'd fine him.
He was like, if you ain't here at 9 o'clock every morning to train with me, bro, I'm going to fine you every time. So he put a pink slip on my desk. It was $100. I'm like, ripped it up. Next day, another $100. Ripped it up. Next day, another $100. So he went to the GM, Rick's son, and was like, yo, young boy owe me like $500. Just take it out his check. And they did it.
After this, Teague
That's
had no choice
crazy.
but to start working with him. So, the young podcaster trained and stayed ready, eagerly awaiting the day he'd get the chance to show the world he was more than a bench player. That coveted opportunity was presented at the end of his second year, the 2011 playoffs, where in the final game of the Hawks' first-round series against Orlando, starting guard Kirk Heinrich strained his hamstring. This was finally Teague's chance. In the blink of an eye, he went from getting DNP'd against Orlando to being thrust into the starting lineup against Chicago. When asked about this
Crazy.
moment at the time, Teague
Imagine
said
how
it's
nervous
a
that
tough
nigga was.
situation, but these are the moments you live for. The 23-year-old starting in his first ever playoff game would be going up against the MVP of the league, Derrick Rose. And Teague absolutely killed it. He scored 15 points a game on 53% field goal shooting. In the entire 82-game regular season, Teague scored over
Tough.
20 points in only 3 games.
Hey,
In the semifinal
Blade.
series, he matched that total in just 6 games.
This young guy is playing great basketball.
In Game
that
3
shit
at
on.
home, he and Rose battled, with the MVP scoring 44 and Teague scoring 21. Teague recalls thinking, I'm out here dueling with the MVP, what the fuck? Teague admired D. Rose as a player, so he took the challenge of guarding him personally. Rose embarrassed him as he did everyone else.
He hit a floater, threw it up, and caught that bitch.
Yeah.
I said,
He caught it out the net.
he caught it out the net.
Instead of going for 50, Rose called for Coach Tibbs to sub him out at 44, showing an unreal level of confidence and swagger that Teague was blown away by. The number 1 seeded Bulls eliminated the Hawks in 6, but this series served as the launchpad for Teague's career. He continued to grow as a player after the 2011 playoffs and into years 3 and 4, transforming into a reliable starter on a contender. His passing had taken the biggest leap. From year 2 to 4, his assists almost quadrupled. In year 4, he was good for 15 and 8 a night, with nearly 2 steals. Don't let Teague's joking personality fool you. This guy was a baller, and he was a coveted player entering free agency in the summer of 2013. As a restricted free agent, the Hawks had the option to either match the deal he received and keep him or not and let him walk. After 4 years of playing in Atlanta, Teague had had his fun, but he wanted to get the hell out, primarily because he hated Hawks general manager Danny Ferry. Ferry had insulted Teague throughout the regular season, yelling at him for his poor defense and sagging his pants. The Hawks told him they weren't going to pay him, saying,
"Oh
to
my
go
God,
get the
KD!"
money and then come talk to him. So that's what Teague did. He found a 4-year, $32 million deal from the Bucks and signed it. Then he called up the Hawks and warned them not to match it.
And I called him. I was like, I hate everything about you. I hate how you walk. I hate how you talk. I was like, I do not want to play for you. I don't want to be a part of your team. And he was like, okay, cool. Hung up the phone. I signed the extension. We all clapped in Milwaukee. The next morning, they take me to go find a house. He called me and was like, ha, 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 ha. That's how the NBA works. Way to do business. Good job. See you in Atlanta next week. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, we're matching it. Bye. And he just hung up. I came back to Atlanta.
Teague had gotten played. He was back in Atlanta against his will. He still preferred that over being in LA though. Earlier that summer, the Hawks had almost facilitated a trade to send him to the Lakers, but Teague struck it down because he didn't want to play with Kobe Bryant.
I was scared. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't want to play with Kobe, bro.
In a regular season game between the Lakers and Hawks the next year, Teague dunked on Jordan Hill, to which Kobe angrily yelled at him, "You left me with this shit," pointing at Jeremy Lin.
He was pointing at Jeremy Lin.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, like, what?
But there was one move the Hawks made this summer that actually benefited Teague. Their hiring of Mike Budenholzer, an elite coach who introduced a fast-paced offense.
Oh my God, yo!
His best year as a pro.
Come on, bro. Hold on.
Their hiring of Mike Budenholzer, an elite coach who introduced a fast-paced offense that helped Teague thrive in what was his best year as a pro in 2013-14. He averaged a career-high 16.5 points per game, largely thanks to his lightning speed that was even more enhanced in this new offense.
Niggas don't dig how good
fans call him
Jeff Teague
underrated,
really is,
with
bro.
some even ranking him near the top of the point guard list. His nastiest highlight came in Brooklyn, where Teague crossed up his own brother, Marquise Teague, which Jeff called one of his favorite moments of his career.
He get in the game, I'm hyped. And I wasn't going hard at first, like, cause I wanted him to do good, you know. And Coach Bud, like, you playing soft right now. You ain't going at your brother. So I'm like, yeah, you right. Man, I get on a fast break. I see in his eyes. I'm like, oh, it's me and him. I gave him the baby little. Then I gave him the big right to left, and he fell. Oh my Lord!
Just 1 minute after this, Paul Pierce said this about the two.
Paul Pierce trying to check in for Kevin Garnett.
This season by Teague stamped him
Ain't he on his team?
Long gone.
Wait, ain't Marcus on his team?
1 minute after this, Paul Pierce said this about the two.
Paul Pierce trying to check in for Kevin Garnett.
What the fuck Marcus do?
This season by Teague stamped him as an NBA starter. Long gone were the days of him riding the bench. The 25-year-old was here to stay, continuing his strong play into the 2014 playoffs, where he averaged nearly 28 games in a 7-game series against the number 1 seeded Indiana Pacers. Such a great performance by Teague nearly helped Atlanta eliminate the top dog in the East. It also helped set the stage for what would be the greatest season of not only his career, but the Atlanta Hawks franchise as well. 2014-15.
I remember that year, gang.
This season, their highest
the Hawks
total
used to be
in
tough.
History. They were led by
Joe
4
Johnson.
All-Stars: Paul Millsap, Al Horford, Kyle Korver and our boy Jeff, who
Wait,
made
Joe
it
Johnson
for the
wasn't on that
first and
team?
only time in his career. Interestingly enough, Teague actually regrets this accomplishment because it made him complacent.
That was a huge accomplishment, man. I was so hyped to make that team, but I wish I didn't make it. I'm saying that because I got comfortable. Like, I was on a hunt. Once I got the money, I wanted to be an all-star. I was on a hunt. After that, I was good. I was like, I made the all-star team.
Yeah.
I started saying what Smooth was saying. It's time to get paid.
It shifted his focus from accolades and career progression to money. The Hawks had the best record in the East and second best record in the league, only behind the eventual champion Warriors,
This nigga
who
was
Atlanta had
dunking that
handily
shit,
beat
wasn't
at
he?
home in what was their highlight win of the season.
Jeff Teague punctuates the victory with a steal.
Even more promising was how the Hawks had easily won the season series against the LeBron-led Cavs 3-1, including one 29-point blowout. They appeared to have the Cavs' number, and were hyped as the kryptonite to LBJ. Was Jeff Teague about to make history? Both squads met in the conference finals for the showdown
Nope.
of the century.
Ain't being Brian.
But before we look at the biggest playoff series of Teague's career, did you know that every time you use the internet to watch Jeff Teague highlights, you're at risk for having your data stolen? Think about it. When you're getting your morning matcha while wearing your quarter zip at Starbucks and you use the public Wi-Fi, criminals have a field day spying on and even altering your personal data. Solution? NordVPN, the sponsor of today's video. You've definitely heard of these guys as being one of the best VPNs in the game, and they got all the sauce for protecting your privacy. Their threat protection series kicked off. LeBron approached Teague before the game and told him, "I figured y'all out." What did he mean by this? Well, on the first play of the game, Teague found out.
I was excited. I was like, yeah, I think we can beat them, because in the regular season, we beat them pretty good every time. And I was like, yeah. And I seen the first play. He ran a pick and roll with me. I was like, oh, that's what we gonna do the whole game? You gonna bring me in the pick and roll? It was over. I was like, I can't guard LeBron.
The Hawks got swept. Teague played
Damn.
well, but it wasn't enough to take down the well-oiled machine that was Cleveland. One of Teague's most famous podcast stories comes from Game 3 of this series, where he says he tried to match Bron point for point. Teague was off to a fiery start, and Bron said, "You better keep that going," to which Teague responded with, "It ain't gonna stop." Then Bron said,
Well, let's see if you can outscore me. I was like, yeah. I had 19. What you end up with? 19. How much you end up with? Like 38.
It's funny because Teague doesn't do himself justice with this clip. The box score from this game shows he scored 30, while LeBron scored 37 in an overtime win.
Oh,
He
shit.
held the fort down against the best player in the world quite well, actually. The Hawks lost mainly because they got hit with a series of injuries at the worst time. Most notably, their trusted defensive guard Thabo Sefolosha had been out for the rest of the season since early April after the NYPD broke his leg while arresting him. Teague would spend
What?
one more year in Atlanta following this. With it being clear
I
throughout
never
the
knew
season
that.
his
What
time
the
there was
fuck?
up. The Hawks had his replacement lined up, Dennis Schroeder, who that his time there was up. The Hawks had his replacement lined up, Dennis Schroeder, who Teague called the most annoying player he's ever been around.
But who's the most annoying person you would say that's trash talking on the court?
The most annoying was probably Dennis Schroeder.
Schroeder was drafted back in 2013 and had been talking smack.
Yo,
ever
I can
since.
see him being
He
annoying
told
as shit
Teague
for
how
some
one
reason.
day
He's just like
he
one
was
of them
gonna be
little
the starting
annoying
point
ass
guard.
The
kids.
assistant GM was sending him stats like, you're going to be a starter one day. Like, you're going to be the guy. You're going to be the guy. Like, your stats compared to his stats. But he was showing me. Like, he didn't even know. Like, he like, yeah, I'm going to start one day. Wes said, I'm going to start one day. And I'm like, you talking to the starter.
Schroeder was from Germany and apparently didn't realize that in America, you're not supposed to do stuff like this. Another sign that it was time to go came in March, when after a game, T got into a long conversation with his sister, and the Hawks team bus left without him. T called them and told them to come back. When he came back on the bus and playfully confronted them about it, Coach Bud told him to shut the hell up. The Hawks took a step back and only won 48 games this year. In the second round of the playoffs, they once again lost to LeBron and the Cavs, in yet another sweep. making Teague's playoff record against LeBron now 0-8. In Game 3, Teague finally had enough of the Bron show, taking matters into his own hands and shoving James into the stands.
Yo, this nigga is actually explaining this nigga whole career in chronological order using his stories. That's tough. That's kind of tough. I'm not gonna
He
lie.
won a playoff game against that nigga ever. I was sick of the shit. Fans in Atlanta cheering for him. He running down the court. I said, you know what, bitch? I got something for you. I got so much hate mail. If he would have been hurt, I would have killed you, bitch. I'm like, hey, I got to get off the internet. That's when I first deleted Instagram.
After the season ended, Teague was moved to the Indiana Pacers in a 3-team trade, ending his 7-year era in Atlanta. He was now with Paul George in his hometown of Indianapolis. He ultimately spent one mediocre year here, highlighted by a few funny stories. He didn't speak to PG for 4 months during this season. They talked during the games, but after, the starting point guard and starting wing on a playoff team literally did not say a word to each other. They walked by each other in the hallways, then communicated on the floor like nothing had happened. It got to the point where their teammate Aaron Brooks had to step in and force them to break the silence. Then they became cool again. Why did they go so long without talking? Teague has no idea.
Off the court, we just didn't talk, and I don't even know why.
There's a running meme in the NBA community that Jeff Teague is everywhere, meaning that in what seems like every historical game, you can find Teague somewhere on the court watching it happen. Like, for example, Teague was directly responsible for this iconic meme. The reason DeMarcus Cousins was looking like this was because from the T-Wolves bench, Teague yelled at Cat to start backing him down.
I was like, Cat, bust his ass. I said, what? Bro, it's a picture. Cat posting up. He looking at our bench like.
One of the most famous games Teague got to witness was Clay's 60-point game on 12 dribbles this season. Teague mentioned how it wasn't him who was getting fried by Clay, but teammates Monte Ellis and Paul George.
I didn't guard him. That wasn't me this time. Nope, y'all can look it up. Wasn't me.
Switching on the screen?
Nope, I wasn't doing none of that. I was guarding Steph.
He a piece of shit,
It was
teammate.
Monte and PG. He was doing us so bad. I remember PG. PG didn't start on him. I give him that. PG was like, I fucking got him, dude. You know, I got him. 25 this quarter. I was like, what's so funny? We was only down like 15 or something like at half, and we was like, we right there. Like Aaron Brooks was like, look at Klay Thompson on the stat sheet. He whispered to me like, Klay Thompson. I was like, damn.
In the playoffs,
That nigga had 40 at
who the Pacers
halftime.
got eliminated by. In another sweep, making Teague's playoff record against LeBron now 0-12. I understand
That
why
is
he pushed him.
crazy.
I also understand why
I
he
probably would've
jokingly
pushed him
accused
too.
him of using steroids. Anyway, Game 3 was the closest Teague ever came to beating Bron. The
Oh
Pacers
my
were up by
God.
nearly 30 at halftime, and Teague walked into the locker room thinking this was it. His first win against the King. Then he overheard LeBron yelling to his teammates, "We good." The Pacers blew the lead. But all was well in the world of Jeff Teague, because he was about to get paid.
Oh, that nigga
He had a
LeBron
fat
really
check lined up
crazy,
with
yo.
the Pacers. All he needed was for Paul George, who was in a boatload of trade rumors at the time, to commit to staying with the team. After the season, Teague and PG went to a baseball game in Indy where George received a roaring cheer from the fans. Teague told him he had to stay. He'd win MVP here. PG agreed.
He like, man, I can't leave this shit. I'm like, yeah, man, you gonna be MVP, man. I left the baseball game like, ching, ching.
Then he checked his phone and saw the notification. Paul George requests trade. His payday was ruined. The Pacers didn't want to keep him because their eyes were now on a rebuild. So, Teague went to Minnesota on a 3-year, $57 million deal,
That's
where he
crazy.
was hesitant to join at first because he believed Minnesota is where careers go to die. He actually lost out on $5 million just because he was so against joining them at first. His agent ultimately talked him into it.
So Tibbs called back again and was like, well, we're at 3 years, 57. My agent was like, all right, we gonna sign. So he called me back, like, we signed with Timberwolves. I was like, man, no, fuck, I didn't. He was like, yeah, I told him you said yeah. I was like, nah, I'm in Orlando. He like, I've never met somebody, he started yelling, that's pissed about $57 million. I was like, I'm pissed. I take 42 from Indiana. He like, nah, man, I'm not letting you make that mistake.
He would be joining the Jimmy Butler, Andrew Wiggins, and Karl Anthony Towns show, which remains to this day one of the most entertaining sagas in NBA history. It all started in the preseason, where the T-Wolves matched up against the Warriors. They were in China, in an arena with 100,000 fans in attendance. Teague was guarding Curry, and played the hardest, toughest defense of his life.
I played the best defense, the hardest defense I ever played in my life.
Why?
I wasn't trying to get embarrassed. You know, it's 100,000 people in the stands in China.
Coach Tibbs even came to him after the game and told him that that was the greatest defense he'd ever seen him play. Steph scored 44. Then a few games into the season when the T-Wolves started 2-3.
Yo, that shit hurt so bad when you playing so hard, bro, and it's just nothing you can do, bro. Like you cutting hard as shit with the player, you chasing him around screens, you fucking running like, yo, niggas taking charges. Niggas don't never take charges. You taking charges. This nigga still scoring, bro. It happened to everybody. So do not get under my comments acting like you never got cooked before, bro. Bro, shit.
Butler came to Teague and told him that this trio they had of he, Wiggs, and Cat wasn't going to work because these two simply didn't have that dog in them. Teague would eventually witness the explosion firsthand a year later in practice. Teague's best moment this year came in the final game of the regular season. In what was a play-in game before the play-in concept existed, the winner of this Nuggets-Timberwolves showdown would get the 8th seed. In the final minute of overtime, Teague drove inside and hit a floater to give Minnesota the lead. The shot that helped end the Timberwolves' 14-year playoff drought. A shot that Teague was scared to put up. Minnesota already hated him because they had paid him a lot for average play, so he didn't want to be the guy that made the mistake in a high-pressure situation. But he came through in the clutch and sent them to the playoffs. Teague's second season with Minnesota was overshadowed by injuries and drama imploding the team. He got to witness firsthand the infamous Butler practice. He described how Butler came into practice and played with the third stringers in the scrimmage, guarding Cat and kicking the starters' asses, beating them 18-6.
Jimmy going crazy.
Y'all think that team can win without me? I'm him. Pay me.
Mind you, he ain't took off his Jordan warm-up yet, right? He finally takes it off. He got the Timberwolves shirt on, but he cut the Minnesota outfit, so it's just chest.
He like, I just beat them with the G Leaguers. This is your starters?
So now I'm laughing. I'm still crying laughing, but I'm like, oh, he talking about me.
Then he sprinted to the locker room and left the arena.
We go in the locker room, ESPN pop up.
You know what time it is.
Rachel Nichols and Jimmy Butler on TV. We like, what the
Butler ended up getting traded to Philly, and Minnesota embraced the tank, with Teague sitting out 40 games with varying ankle injuries. After this, his career started a downward spiral. So I guess Minnesota really is where careers go to die. Fun fact, Teague believes the reason he was traded from Minnesota was because he shot too many mid-range jump shots. After nailing a mid-range jumper at the end of the second quarter, Teague overheard the Timberwolves coaching staff yelling about how he quote-unquote wasn't buying in.
They was just like, yeah, we gotta get you the f out of here. You're not part of where we want to go. And I used to just think like, I hope Minnesota lose every game. Every time Minnesota lost, like, I just went out and had a great time.
He went from Minnesota to Atlanta for a brief 25-game stint. When he arrived in ATL, he was greeted by teammate Jabari Parker, who told him he had just come to an effed up team. Teague asked him why, and Parker told him to wait and see. Then Teague had a meeting with Coach Lloyd Pierce where he told him that no matter what he did, he'd only get 18 minutes a game. If he scored 30, he'd get 18 minutes. If he scored 0, guess what? 18. Whether he liked it or not, Teague was being forced into the veteran mentor role rather than a reliable guard like he used to be. One story that stood out this year, though, came when he played against the Wizards with Isaiah Thomas. IT was once an MVP candidate, but due to injuries, he had severely declined and was playing poorly in DC. In Teague's own words, "I'm one of those people who will kick you while you're down." So he talked smack to IT, who responded ferociously.
What? I said something. He was like, everybody start talking now. I ain't hear you where everything was good. Like, nah, he got me out my body. So I shot a 3 and I missed. I missed bad. He like, he trash. Bag up. He trash. He talking crazy. But I'm like, you on the bench, bro. And I couldn't get him to shut up because I wasn't hooping.
In late 2020, Teague signed with the Celtics on a 1-year deal. The 2020-21 season would be his final year as a pro. In Boston, Teague was referred to by the coaching staff as Jet, not JT like he had been his whole career. This was because the 22-year-old Jason Tatum had the JT title instead. Talk about a downgrade.
I'm like, bro, everywhere you go, like, you would be able to keep your initials. Like, your name's Jeff T. So when we go on the board, I'm looking at Brad, and Brad like, JB, KW, Jet, JT. I'm like, who the fuck is Jet? And he's like, Jeff Teague. I'm like, my nigga, you can't, he's older than Jason Tatum. He can't get his initials.
In April 2021, he was traded to Orlando where he was cut. So he signed with the Bucks, reuniting with Coach Bud in what was a fitting way to end his career. Teague's Bucks made a 2021 finals run. Some of the first clips that really blew up from Teague's podcast were ones of him recounting moments from this run, like how against the Nets in the semis, Teague started packing his bags after Brooklyn took a 2-0 series lead. Then once Kyrie sprained his ankle, Teague said how the Bucks realized, oh wait, we can actually win this thing. In the conference finals against the Hawks, Teague had the last great moment of his career. He had hardly been playing throughout the playoffs thus far due to knee issues. But in Game 6 with Milwaukee up 3-2, he scored 11 points, shooting 3 of 3 from downtown, helping bury the Hawks and send the Bucks to the finals. A fitting moment of glory. Teague had defeated his old team. In the finals, Teague barely played, so he didn't care. As shown by a viral clip in this series that shows Giannis desperately trying to fire up his team, with Teague standing there looking bored with his hands on his hips. Apparently, he was waiting for Giannis' speech to end so they could move out of his seat. When the Bucks won the ball, Teague was asked how he felt.
Oh, me? I just got an A on the group project.
What's great about winning the finals is the after party. But Teague couldn't even experience that because the after party was trash. Giannis didn't want to go party with the team, so all the plans just fell through immediately.
So after the game, obviously you do the champagne stuff in the locker room. I'm walking around with a big bottle of tequila. They like, yeah, it's a party right there at that club. We going to party, I swear to you. It's about this many people in there. Like, yo, where the girl? Like, well, nothing in here? Like, I ain't got nobody. Then the coaches came in there. I'm like, the coaches? And they kids? I'm like, the kids? PJ, like, we gotta go to Vegas. And everybody was like, nah, I ain't going.
Literally right after winning the championship, Teague hopped in his car, drove from Milwaukee to his home city, Indianapolis, and hopped on 2K with his homies.
I said, you just won the championship. Why are you at home playing the game? Lame ass.
And that, my friends, was Jeff Teague's NBA career. Off he went, driving into the sunset, headed home to play 2K, not caring about the title he just won. Stories like these really helped propel Teague's podcast, Club 520, to be one of the most listened to sports shows on the internet. Teague's great storytelling has gained him more fame and popularity than he ever had in his playing days, which is unheard of for athletes. Who would have thought that he'd have all these insane stories? The future of NBA media, everyone.
Yeah. That was a good video, bro. I enjoyed that. Hey, man, if y'all like the video, like the video. Subscribe to the channel. My socials is at the top. I got a question. And I'm fucking snack. I know y'all see my eyes. But, like, where are you about to go?